Hello, my friends. Today I'm doing my movie and book wrap up for November. I watched a fair bit, so without further ado, let's get into it. The first movie I watched was Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Believe it or not, I'd never seen it before. And I don't think I need to explain the plot of The Birds, but needless to say, I really loved this movie. Yes, it looks a little fake in parts, but I still think it was quite effective, especially because I am scared of birds. This is a horror classic, and I really recommend everybody see it. I then watched Del Toro's Frankenstein. This came to Netflix earlier in the month, and it's basically his version of it, sort of loosely based on the book. And all I can say is this is one of my favorite horror movies of the year. Frankenstein in general is a story that means a lot to me, and I think the way Guillermo del Toro put it together and adapted the story was just beautiful and wonderful and really captivating. Everybody played such a great role, but Jacob Elordi was the standout as Frankenstein's monster. It is a long movie, but it is so worth watching. I highly recommend it. I then watched Bone Lake, which is a new thriller that is very similar to Speak No Evil, but it's quite sexual. It's about a couple that go away on a romantic holiday, and when they arrive at their Airbnb, they realize that they've double booked with another couple. And because the place is so large, they decide to share it together. But this other couple just aren't quite right. And what ensues is nothing short of wacky and wild and deadly. I really enjoyed this movie. I feel like there should be more movies that are like Speak No Evil, where there are people that just make you feel uncomfortable by the things they do and say. Really great thriller elements and gore. And then went to see Keeper, which is the newest film from Osgood Perkins. And unfortunately, this was not one of my favorites. I just don't like stories like this where they're really weird for no real reason. It was such a slow slog, and then by the time we got to the end, I just didn't care anymore. I feel like the only redeeming feature was Tatiana Maslany's acting. I think she was a standout in this role. But there was just something about it that I couldn't get into. I just wanted it to be over. And if you didn't know, it is about a woman that goes to a cabin with her lover, and when she arrives, there are a lot of strange things happening there. I'm not going to say too much more, but you won't be able to predict what happens because it's that weird. I then watched the original Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger because I wanted to prepare for the reboot. And honestly, this movie is fine. It has Arnie's classic one-liners. For the time, it would have been quite impactful and effective. I know a lot of people love this movie, but having seen the remake, I can confidently say that this one pales in comparison. The Running Man is based off of Stephen King novel, and it's about people that are put into a game for a monetary amount or to gain their freedom. In the original, is to gain freedom. And in essence, he has to fight a whole bunch of hyperbolic supervillains to gain his freedom as a prisoner. But the remake is far better because in the remake, it is expanded. The entire world and lore is expanded. Instead of just fighting in a dingy warehouse with bad lighting, he is traveling across the US disguising himself from these assassins. And in this movie, in this remake, he is not fighting for his freedom, he is fighting for a large monetary amount to help out his sick daughter. I just thought this was a really solid action thriller. This is a movie that really benefits from a remake, and they did such a good job with it. I then watched I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. And if you thought that Keeper was my least favorite Osgood Perkins movie, you're wrong. It's this one. Because when I tell you that nothing happens in this movie, nothing happens. I don't even know what this movie is about, to be honest. I don't even know what I watched. It was just a woman in a house. Like, that's literally all I can tell you happens. She's just in a house. I've never been so bored in all my life. I then watched Bambi the Reckoning. So this is from the same universe as Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and this is their take on Bambi. And this is going to sound crazy, but this is the best one so far. They had an actually decent story in this movie, and Bambi was terrifying. He was ripping everyone apart. And you know what? It wasn't half bad. So if you're going to watch any of them, I recommend this one. I then watched Good Boy. I really wanted to see it at the cinemas, but it did not come out here. This film is about a haunted house, but it's from the perspective of the dog. So we are seeing what the dog sees. And it's more of an independent, lower budget movie. And it actually took years to make because the director was so patient with this dog. They've taken so long to edit. And whilst I really appreciate the art and the filming style, the story was a little bit slow. It just wasn't really for me, but I can at least appreciate all the work and all the time and all the effort that took to make this movie. And the last movie I watched this month was Knives Out. I'd never seen it before. I really want to watch Glass Onion and the new one and then rank all the movies. I like this movie. I think it's a very solid story. It's quite thrilling and fun and it keeps you guessing. There's such a good cast of characters here. My issue with this movie is I have emetophobia, which is a fear of vomiting, and there is a lot of vomiting in this movie, like far too much. Like it happens 6, 7 times, and I just couldn't handle it, and I had to give it a low rating because of that. In terms of television shows, I finished RuPaul's Drag Race UK season 7, and this is one of the worst seasons to come out this year. Everybody knows it's all we've been talking about the last few weeks. This was abysmal, and I have so much more to say about it when I do my ranking at the end of the year. And I finished season 1 of Squid Game The Challenge, which was so fun. So I'm recovering from an illness at the moment, and it was just the perfect thing to binge when I was sick. I love the show Squid Game. It's one of my favorite television shows of all time. And I think it just translates so well to a reality competition where obviously these people don't die, but they're still fighting for a huge sum of money with really high stakes. And the games and the way it's put together and the storylines and the emotions and the gameplay, it's just so fun. Honestly, I could rewatch this over and over, even knowing the outcome. I really want to partake. I actually think I would do okay in it. And then last but not least, the only book I read this month was The Third Gilmore Girl, which is Kelly Bishop's biography. If you didn't know, she plays Emily Gilmore in The Gilmore Girls. My mum got me this for my birthday, and I really loved her story. I think she is such an inspiring woman, and I loved learning about everything it took to get her to the role of Emily Gilmore. She's such a unique woman, and she's really worth learning more about, so I highly recommend checking it out. And that's everything I watched and read in the month of November. This month I will be seeing Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and Silent Night, Deadly Night. I'm also going to be finishing Welcome to Derry, which will be getting its own dedicated review on my blog. But as always, let me know what you watched and read in the month of November, and I will see you very soon for another video.